Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a double page scrapbook layout for you of a day we spent at the lake recently. We took out my daughter and her husband's paddleboard, and I don't swim but I took a picture on it. There's my daughter. They had a little trouble getting up on it. It was very windy that day, but they stayed on it about long enough for me to take these pictures, and then they would splash right back off. But we got some pretty good pictures, and they had a fun time trying. It was just a little too windy that day for them to really get going on there. We are going to bring in, I've chosen the Florals in Bloom collection. This collection is currently available on Stampin Up, and as the time of my recording, it is on sale at a discounted price. So I'll have this listed down below if something that you're interested in. So let me go ahead and clear this off, and we're going to get started on today's project. Alright, so we have our mats in place, and I'm going to start building this on a white background. So I have 2 sheets of 12 by 12 white cardstock. Alright, in this Florals in Bloom paper, there are a lot of floral backgrounds here and floral papers, but the one I'm interested in is this one right here. This right here reminds me of the lake, the lily pads on the lake. There was a lot of lily pads on these lakes where we were, not necessarily right where they were doing their paddleboarding and people were swimming there. But I just, as soon as I thought of these lake pictures, I thought of this paper right here. And I think we're going to have that running down the center. And then I'm also going to bring in the Country Woods wood grain papers. I love these papers. There are a lot of good designs in here. But I think I'm going to go for one of these darker. I found 2 darker prints in there. And what I'm wanting to do is have a little piece sticking out right along it. I'm going to have a piece flanking the side here, and then we're going to have a piece just accenting on each edge. So I have that one. I'm considering that one. That one's a little bit lighter, or I have this one here that's just a little bit darker. And let's lay our photos out and see what we think here. I was thinking of doing something kind of like this. And then we can always put another mat behind these photos to make them stand off of this paper a little more. But I think I'm leaning toward the darker. I really like that dark. It really makes this green paper pop. So I think we're going to take this one out, and we're just going to cut some little strips of this one to go along each side. So let me get those cut down right fast. Alright, I got those papers cut down, and I have them just laying here. I haven't tacked them down yet till we make our final decisions on our papers here. But I cut this paper in half, so I have a 6-inch strip on each side, and then I have a 1-inch strip of the wood grain just flanking each side of that green paper. But I want to look at now what color we might want to mat our photos in, so that we can get it to pop off of this paper a little more and create a nice background for those papers. So I have 2 or 3 options here that I'm looking at. I have that lighter wood grain that we pulled out and that we didn't use on the sides, to see if we might want to use that. That's not bad, but I really don't like it next to that other. We also have the Mossy Meadow cardstock that is in the paper here. So that would make a nice background to pull that green out of that paper. I do like that one. I'm going to leave this side on that because I also have this boho blue. You can see some of the little dots in here are blue. So I thought this might pull out some more of the blue, plus it would match more on the little paddle boat that they were riding on, and the sky. It just really pulls those blues out. So I'm really thinking, I think I'm going to go with the blue to pull out all this blue in these photos. So let me get some photo mats cut for those pictures. Okay, we have our photo mats cut, our pictures adhered, and I went ahead and adhered down the paper. I went ahead and committed to that. I'm really liking this layout so far. I did use the light side of boho blue. It is a two-tone cardstock, and so I've mounted my pictures on the light side. So now let's look at some embellishments. I have a sheet of, it's called cardstock stickers from Paper House. I've had these for a while, but I'm not sure where they came from. But I was thinking I would use this right here as my title. I really like these stickers, so we're going to pull several of those in, but we're going to use this as our title. I want to put it right down here. And I've pulled out the Charming Duck Pond. I don't believe these are available anymore. They are retired. But I went ahead and cut some of the little cattails. And I thought we would place some of those around our layout to give it that really lake feel. So we're going to put some around the title. And I would like to do some right up here. We need a little something more in this upper corner here. So I thought we could get some little cattails. I also, out of the Scenic Adventures dies, I only have the die set. These are great standalone dies, but there is a stamp set that goes with this. But I've stamped some of the small tree and the big trees here. And I stamped some of the grass, but I'm not sure I'm going to use those. But here are some of the trees. I stamped some in, I believe that's Garden Green or Mossy Meadow. I'm not sure. This one was Granny Apple Green. So I thought we could use some of these to just tuck around, because we did have some trees. You can see in some of the pictures here, I caught the edge of the little beach. You can see some of the trees back there. Just gives it a little more lakeside feel. I'm not sure about putting the big ones around the title. I would like to use this big boat right here. We use it on this corner. And we'll pull in a couple more of those little cattails around the boat. I also cut out from the Spotlight on Nature set a few circles that we can put around some of these areas too if we feel like we need to have those stand off a little more. Let's see. Let's put us a couple little trees up here. I have another little cattail right here. And I like that. Let's see, let's bring in some of the little small trees and with these little cattails here. Not sure about that. All right. I can bring in, this is some of the little grass that was cut out. I might could put some grass inside by the boat there. Make it look like it's setting up on the shoreline. I like that. And then we have some little word stickers here. We have some of these that are pointing in different, with a couple little arrows. This is the life. I like this little circle right there. I could pull that in right there and maybe move this one down to the bottom. Instead of that one, let's use this as the life. That way it's pointing in to the layout, There, I like that better. All right. I also made some little tags. This is from the Keeping Tabs dies. I don't believe they have the die anymore, but I do believe, I'll check. I think they have a punch. I will check, and if it's available, I'll have it listed down below as well. But I cut some little tags we can put in here. All right, that's looking good. So let me get all this tacked down, and then we'll be back to finish it up. All right, while I was off camera, I decided to make a couple changes. I added these circles from the Spotlight on Nature dies behind each of these clusters just to help bring it off that page just a little bit. I did ink the edges in Early Espresso. I've inked everything in Early Espresso, and that just gave it a little landing spot so it didn't just look like it was floating out there. And I changed this cluster, instead of all the trees, I just made the trees the diagonal, or these diagonal from each other, and I decided to add some tags here. So we'll finish off those tags here in a minute, but I like that a lot better. I also think I want to try behind each of these. I'd like to do a little ink blending right on my page and have it kind of come out behind these. So I didn't glue these down yet, so that we can do a little ink blending and have it come out. And the way I'm going to do that, I want to first test it. I think I'm going to use the boho blue, which is what I backed the pictures in, and I also cut the tags. This is the dark side of boho blue and the light side of boho blue. So I thought I would do just a little test square here, and then we can put it behind our embellishments and see how we think we're going to like that. So let me get a little bigger piece of scrap paper out here. All right, we're going to test this out a little bit. Tap off, because that's the harshest part, and then we're going to just swirl our brush around and get some of this boho blue on our scratch paper here. Okay, and then we can take that scratch paper and we'll slide it underneath, and we can kind of get an idea of what that would look like coming out. And I really like that. So I think we're going to do that behind there and behind our, coming out from around our title. I think that will just add a lot of interest and bring out a little more of the blue through the pictures. Just tie in that blue color from all the clouds in the boat. So we're going to start over here. I'm going to kind of leave this so I can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tap off behind this cluster, and then I'm going to start inking out from behind the cluster. We'll just keep adding a little ink behind those clusters until we get it looking the way we want, coming out from around our cluster. All right, I think that looks good. I think I like that one. We just want a little bit coming out around to give it a little glow and a little interest. Let's make it come up this way just a little bit. Make it come out from behind those. And then when you glue your cluster down, you can't even tell where you stamped off behind it. I like that coming out from around the back. So now let's do around our title. We'll just start from behind the title, and we're going to work out in circular motions, bringing that color out into the viewing area here that we can see behind our title. Okay, make it come out from the top just a little bit. All right. I really like that. I think that just adds just a little bit to those clusters. All right. So now we can finish getting these glued down. We'll just glue right over top of that where we made the mess there. Bring those right on the edge there. All right, there we go. So there's that cluster done, and we'll get those in a minute. Let's go ahead and add some more of our cattails back around. And the way I made these cattails is in the Charming Duck Pond Stamps and Dies. It has a stamp. And you can stamp out the little cattails. It stamps it all. So I stamped it once in the green, then I stamped it again in white, and I used Pecan Pie ink to ink the cattail parts, and then I just clipped them off, and then I glued them onto the green. That gave me the little natural looking cattails on top. So we're just going to stick some of these behind our right. I think we're going to leave the trees out. All right, to finish these tags off, I found some of the blue twine from the Pack Your Bags set. This goes with the Tags to Go kit, but this blue I feel like matches pretty good with my pictures. So I'm going to get a little strand of this off, and we're going to put some little tag toppers on our tags. Won't take much. We'll just snip those off, and then we're going to fold it. Stick it through that little hole. And then pull that thread back up through the loop, and there's our tag topper. So there's one. I'll get one stuck in this one. And I think I've decided I'm going to put my journaling on this little tag. So this is going to become a hidden journaling tag. So when I put my picture down, I didn't put any tacky right behind. I only tacked it down on the edges. And these are not very thick, so they'll slide in and out. If you have anything that's very thick, if you wanted to add a picture to your tag or something like that, you can always build up on the back of your picture. You can build up with the foam tape that's thick. You would just put your foam tape on the back of your picture, wide enough for your tags to slide down and however far down you want them to go. But these are pretty thin and they slide in and out pretty easy, so I'm not going to build mine up. We're just going to leave it like this. I will tack this back one down just so that it stays in place when you pull this one in. It's close enough to the top that you can just reach inside the page protector and pull it out. All right, there we go. And this will just, we'll attach it to the tag. That way it'll just pull in and out with the tag, and it'll just slide in and out and sit right there. I'll put this one down just a little bit so that it's not quite so high. There we go. All right. I think we're going to pop this little sticker up on some of the Stampin Dimensionals. All right, so I'm just going to add a few of these little Stampin Dimensionals to the back. I think 3 ought to be good. Pull the little backings off and we're going to stick it right there. We're going to kind of make it cover this little corner. All right, now our tag can still slide in and out. We'll add our journaling on there. All right, in my weekend adventures, I found this little stamp here, this little row of X's. I thought we might add some of those just around the pictures to give another decorative element. So I'm going to ink this up in my boho blue so that it'll match. And then we're just going to ink right up the side of these pictures. And try to make sure I get it on there straight. It don't look too bad. Let's go ahead and add one more right here, just to give a little bit on this side. All right, I think that looks good. And then for my last touch, I have these. They are the 2025-2027 in color flat pearls. And we are going to use the cloud cover. This little blue color right here, that's cloud color. And we're just going to add a few of these around on our page. I'm going to add them around our little clusters here. I am going to add them in groups of 3s. We'll add a couple to our tags. And maybe one more out here. All right. And I think that's going to do it. Let's move this one just a little bit closer. Put this one on the paper. There we go. All right. I think that's going to do it. And that is going to be our documentation of our lake day. We have the beautiful cloud cover and our ink blending here. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you would give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to my channel. I love to hear your comments, hear your feedback. And if you don't have a demonstrator yet, I would love it if you would choose me as your demonstrator as you check out on StampinUp.com with your order. And I will have everything that I use that is available listed down below with an item number for Stampin' Up. And that's it for today. Hope you have a great rest of your day.